All right, so the first thing you have to do when you are considering what you want your storage box to look like are what do you want to actually put in it. So I use these wire cutters that came with the Ender 3 all the time. I want to try to find a way to put those in. I use a 1/16th Allen wrench to help remove the casing for the extruder so that I can replace my many nozzles. I also have a bit that will allow me to remove and tighten those nozzles as well, and certainly you need a little screwdriver or something that will go with that. I use a glass bed, and because of that, especially with the 0.8 millimeter nozzle, it doesn't stick as well, so I end up using quite a bit of glue, so I definitely want something that will have a little storage room for it. This I mainly use to remove gunk, glue gunk from the bed, or if I really, I guess, need help pulling something off of the bed, a print. That's a secondary concern, but if I can get that in there, that would be great. I don't use SD cards too often, but obviously I do use micro SD cards very often. So I use those. And then I need a couple USBs to put them in the computer and transfer the G code. So those are all the things I want in my storage box. And so now, how am I going to design something that is going to incorporate all these things and make it a handy little box for me beside my 3D printer? And to that, we will head to Tinkercad. Okay, so I am now in Tinkercad, and the rule that I always abide by is keep it simple, stupid. When you are 3D designing things, I think it's very easy to make things overly complicated, and that just increases their complexity and makes it more likely for your print to fail or your design to fail. So I'm going to try to keep it simple. So I'm just going to do a 60 by 75, and all the things that I have measured, and so I just to be sure that SD cards will fit in there. It's the right depth for all the nozzles, all things like that. So nothing too crazy. Here, I'm thinking of having two shelves. So I'm going to do, let's just say 55. And I do admit that after this is done, I am probably going to alter some of these and really be sure they fit well together. Right now, I just want to give you a gist of what you can do and how you can personalize it. So here's what I'm thinking. I copied and pasted that. Again, this is not the final design. This is very rough. I just want to show you that, see, right there, made a mistake. Obviously, those have to come up a little bit. Oh, or I guess I could take that down, either one. Now let's see that. There we go. So that is going to be the front of my box is what I'm imagining here. And I've got two spots for shelves. They'll go in. Again, I'm going to make it prettier after this. But now, so that is going to hold the SD card, the micro SD, the nozzles, and I'll go into the shelf design here in a second. But I also need something to hold the, I guess, paint scraper, something to hold the pieces of glue sticks. So one glue stick is 2 cm. So I'm going to make this about 5 or 45 millimeters. I want something that will ultimately hold 2 glue sticks. Right here, we got 75. So let's bring this up. And now I'm envisioning on the top to have 2 glue sticks and something that will hold the paint scraper. And again, I'm just thinking of holes essentially that I'm going to put in here. So first thing, we want to make a glue stick hole. And one glue stick hole is, already 2 cm, perfect. And then here, let's say we want one glue stick is like 8 cm. So let's say, I don't know, say 60. And oh, whoops. And it will just stick out a little bit from the top. There we go. So now we got to rotate this. Whoop. One thing I really like about Tinkercad is that even if you have no experience, which I mean, I have very little experience just from what I've learned on my own, it's great to be able, actually, I can tell right now, okay, this isn't tall enough. So let's make this 45. So I really bumped that up. I think that's a pretty good distance. And that's 45 millimeters. So obviously I'm gonna have to come back and, oh, actually, never mind. It did a good job of just extending this. So my shelves right there, that looks much better. Those are deeper shelves. That's good. So here I'm going to copy and paste this guy. I'm gonna bring him over. Again, just really rough. This is what I'm envisioning. See, these two things will hold the glue sticks. One nice thing about it too is because they are round, I'm envisioning of 3D printing this so that the original orientation I showed you when we started the video, that is going to be the way I print it. So it's going to print from the bottom layer here and then print up. So if I have circles, then the 3D printer should be able to handle that without any type of supports or difficulties printing. And that's where if you try to make it too complex, it can get pretty ugly pretty quick. So this ideally is going to be my paint scraper, or what's going to hold the paint scraper. It doesn't matter if that goes all the way through actually. And so I'm going to push this in a little bit. Well, I'll just leave it. That's fine. So here, push that in a little bit. Again, I will pretty this up later. And now this piece is ready to combine. Boom. And now we just have one more piece to figure out here. So I measured the difficult thing are the wire cutters, trying to figure out how the heck am I going to fit the wire cutters. And so I think what I'm going to do is make like a 4, let's do 4. Oh, this one will be 45 too. This is just going to be, it's going to be a hefty little sucker in terms of a storage box, but if it holds everything I need, that's all that matters. 75. Okay, so now I'm thinking, I don't even remember what this was. I said 45 up here too. Okay. So I was thinking having a, making a pyramid shaped, if I can get that to 90, 88, whatever, close enough. Because again, I'm going to pretty it. If I make that, and this is going to be, I don't know, we'll say 40. This certainly probably doesn't need to be that thick. Let's see. I don't remember. We'll do 2.5. I just measured it real quick. So this needs to be actually 25. So I was wrong. And you know what? Again, why not make it a little better? Sets up being a real big hole. But that is going to be not a roof. That's going to be our little holder for our, that seems odd. I'm going to double check these. I'm not sure if that's right, but whatever. You get the point. So now I have this definitely not right. But you see what I'm trying to do. Now I just need to lengthen this. I don't know, 30. Now if we put this in here, and we now have a little spot that I can put the wire cutters. You'll probably see a little better once I actually print this, assuming all works well. And I have a little more room up here to maybe make a hole so I could put another USB drive, or I could put another couple circles here and put something in there, who knows. But once you're done with that, you're going to combine all 3 of these. And we'll just put them kind of over here. Again, very rough, super rough sketch. And then boom, that is the front of our box. And I'm going to print it this way. So when it prints up to us. So now let's focus on our shelves. Okay, now for the shelves, we're going to do something very similar. So I wrote down the dimensions that I put in here. Again, I know we have to pretty this up, but I was thinking Right here across, I had 55 cm. That's the hole that I made inside the front of the box. I like to add a little give because maybe it is my 3D printer, or maybe it's just the way 3D printing is. I can never get things to work perfectly if I make them absolutely perfect in terms of dimensions. And so right now I'm thinking, just to give you an idea, let's say I definitely need to make that a little bit smaller. So let's move this up. I'm thinking this is the front of the shelf. So right there's a little handle that I'm going to make for the shelf. And then of course I've got to put a box in here and make it big enough, as big as we can. I normally think like 2 millimeters on like for the wall and layer height right here is normally okay. I think that normally looks good for 3D printing and it's sturdy enough. Obviously, I guess I need to bring that up, huh? So I'm going to bring this up, and now this is where kind of some of your creativity needs to come in which I'm planning on putting an SD card slot right here. So let's do micro SD first. So obviously we'll need to fit in there. I'm going to just do a very rough go of it. So let's do 10. That's fine. So I'm going to make my slots for the micro. Let's start with the micro SD. So they don't need to fit them perfectly, so I'm not going to. So it's going to be 10 cm. Let's see. It doesn't need to be very high because I do want them to stick out so they're easy to grab. So let's just say that this is a good starting point. So it's 5 millimeters tall. It is a 20, which I think is excessive. I think that could probably be 10. And then this certainly doesn't need to be 10. I don't know. We'll say 5. And then I'm going to add that over here, raise it. And then if I do that multiple times, I will have multiple pieces of multiple slots for micro SD cards. Again, I'm going to run measurements. You do the same exact thing for the SD cards, but obviously they're going to be longer and you could probably make this a little deeper. So once I do that, I bring it over here. Again, I'm trying to be quick about this so you at least see the general idea. And then there we go. Now I have something that I can put SD cards, and I still have a little area over here to put nozzles or wherever it may be. I'm going to do this twice, one for the bottom and one for the top shelf. And then I think at this point, I'm going to pretty this up, and let's take a final look at the finished design once I'm finished running the measurements. Okay, so for our final design of the main component of our box, it looks somewhat similar to what we were working with before. I got my 2 shelves, and when you look over here, we've got the 2 glue stick holes. We also have a nice oval that will be easily printed from this view and also will hold the USB stick. We have a slot for the paint peeler or whatever you want to call it. Then I have a conical hole that will ideally fit the wire cutters. Then I made this extra somewhat shorter oval hole. I don't really have a plan for what it's going to hold yet, but I had some space and I didn't want to waste it. And then in the front, I may put a couple of designs if I can think of something to put here, or just leave it plain. This isn't going to win any architectural design awards, but the thing is, I will get a very nice storage box out of it. So let's show you the 2 shelves, what those look like, and then get the printing. All right, so our print is done. This is what the final product looked like. I can't say it is the cleanest print in the world that I've done, but it will do the job. So right here is where we're going to put our little tweezers. Here are glue sticks go in there really nicely. Here's the USB. Here is the little scraper. And then when we open our little drawers here, probably hard to see because it's black on black, but We got places for little SD cards. We've got a place for big SD cards, which I'm gonna have to read. There it goes. It goes kind of in there. I'm gonna have to go make that a little bigger. I guess I didn't make that long enough. So that will go in there, as well as, I think right now I'm gonna put these nozzles in there as well. And I put that in there. Also got the Allen wrench for switching nozzles. Here is just that, these two things that will allow us, I'm going to put that in there as well, will allow us to change the nozzle. I never used this. It came with something, so I probably won't even put that in there, actually. And so there we go. Now I have some semblance of organization on my workbench. And what's nice is you can obviously personalize this to yourself. I thought about putting a couple designs up here. You can change the colors out. It looks great. So I'm glad I have some type of organization. I will try to make this Tinkercad project public and put it in the description below so you can use it and modify it how you see fit for yourself. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you spend the time making your own storage box, because it's going to be extremely handy, and that's a great thing about 3D printing. You can personalize it to yourself. Thank you for watching.